Every 5 years, China drops this incredibly detailed roadmap for its future. But the one that's coming up, the 15th five-year plan for 2026 to 2030, well, it's not just another update. It's a fundamental pivot. So, what's really in this economic blueprint, and how is it going to shape the next decade?
To really get the stakes here, we first have to zoom out and look at the long-term goal. China has set this super specific, really ambitious target for itself, and the deadline is 2035. So what's the big number they're aiming for?
$30,000. That's the goal for per capita GDP. Now, think about this. Back in 2020, it was just over 10,000. So they're talking about nearly tripling it in just 15 years. The idea is to reach the level of what you'd call a moderately developed country.
So how do they get there? Well, this 15-year journey is broken down into 3 5-year chunks. The current plan, the 14th, was all about setting up. The 16th plan will be that final push to the finish line. But it's this middle period, the 15th five-year plan, that everyone is saying is the most critical leg of the race.
Yeah, probably the best way to think about this whole 15-year push is to see it as a marathon.
Think of it this way. The 14th plan, the one we're in now, was all about finding your rhythm, right? Getting your breathing right after the start. The 16th plan, that's going to be the final all-out sprint to the finish. That makes the 15th plan, well, that's the grueling middle part of the race. It's the part that really tests your stamina, your resolve, your confidence. Okay, so to hit that 2035 target, China has to average over 4% growth during this next plan. And you might be thinking, well, they just averaged 5.5%, so 4% should be a piece of cake, right? But here's where it gets tricky. That earlier growth was partly a rebound from the pandemic, starting from a lower base. The next 5 years require growth on top of an already massive 140 trillion yuan economy. So, and this is the key, hitting a lower percentage target is now actually way, way harder.
And this whole economic challenge, it's not happening in a vacuum, right? A huge shift in this upcoming plan comes from how China's view of the entire global environment has completely changed. You can just feel the change in tone when you look at the language. 5 years ago, the outlook was super confident, talking about a period of strategic opportunities. Fast forward to today, and the language is way more cautious. Now, those opportunities are explicitly paired with risks and challenges. It's a clear signal that they see a much more uncertain world out there.
This quote from a top economic advisor just nails the new mindset. It starts by acknowledging the global turbulence and chaos, but then it pivots to this new idea, the need to proactively shape its own environment. That's a huge shift from just reacting to things.
And you see this play out in the official language, too. It's moved from this more passive, almost defensive posture of maintaining strategic resolve to something way more assertive, a sense of historical initiative. It really signals a move from reacting to the world to actively trying to influence it.
So, this new way of looking at the world, it's also reflected in a huge shift in their domestic economic priorities. They're moving away from just keeping things stable to really pushing for higher quality.
The last plan, it was all about playing defense, safeguarding the bottom line, stabilizing jobs, ensuring basic needs. The new plan, though, is all about playing offense. The key word you hear everywhere is high-quality development, which basically means the goal isn't just to prevent problems anymore. It's to fundamentally upgrade the entire economic model. And check this out. For the first time ever, the official language explicitly puts quality before quantity. Now, this isn't just them moving words around. It's a massive signal of a whole new philosophy. The quality of growth is now officially more important than the speed of growth. Okay, so new worldview, new focus at home. What does the actual playbook look like? Well, it pretty much boils down to 3 core pillars that are going to define everything China does for the next 5 years. So here they are. First, they're doubling down on what they call the real economy. Second, they're pushing hard for technological independence. And third, they're embedding the idea of security into absolutely everything. Let's break these down one by one. So the plan makes it crystal clear. The real economy, we're talking manufacturing, industry, physical things you can touch, not just finance or software, is the non-negotiable foundation. The goal is to build a modern industrial system with advanced manufacturing right at the heart of it. And the scale of this push? It is absolutely staggering. Just from upgrading the traditional industries they already have, the government expects to create a market space of around 10 trillion yuan.
To give you some perspective on just how massive that is, 10 trillion yuan is about 7 to 8% of China's entire GDP for 2024. And remember, that's just from upgrading old industries. That's not even counting the growth from new ones. It's huge.
All right, pillar number 2, tech self-reliance. And this is all about fueling that industrial upgrade we just talked about. The goal here isn't just innovation for innovation's sake, it's about creating original, homegrown technology that can be plugged directly into industry to drive that high-quality growth. But really, underpinning both industry and tech is the third, and maybe most revealing pillar of this new plan.
And it all comes down to a single number: 15. That is how many times the word security shows up in the plan's official announcement.
This is a really big deal. The word security is used more often than technology, more than industry, more than innovation. What that tells you is that security is no longer seen as its own separate thing, like defense or the military. It's now a lens through which they view, well, everything, from tech and food to energy and the economy itself.
So, when you put all these pieces together, this new worldview, the intense focus on quality, and this playbook of industry, tech, and security, a single overarching goal really snaps into focus. This right here, this is the fundamental pivot. For decades, China's whole development story was about solving the problem of having or not having. Getting the basics, building up scale, going for speed. The mission now is to solve the question of being good or not good, to pursue quality, efficiency, and technological leadership. In short, the entire strategy is shifting from being big to being strong. It's an incredibly ambitious, demanding, and frankly risky transformation. The next 5 years are really going to show us if this new playbook can actually deliver on that promise.